Maverick.
Yeah.
You hear about ice?
What's that?
You want another one?
Really? Yeah. I feel the need for speed.
Alright, the Wonderbolts are here. You might recall that I've been eagerly awaiting this episode, so I have a lot to say here. For the most part, I love this episode a whole bunch, but I'm a little biased, and as such, I have a few nitpicks. But in any case, it's time to kick the tires and light the fires. Wonderbolt Academy by Meriwether Williams. Right out of the box, the plot is one that was predicted probably ever since the Wonderbolts were first introduced to us to Rainbow Dash. Dash applies for the Wonderbolt Academy to fulfill her dream to be among the most elite flyers of Equestria. Dash, of course, at this point in Season 3, has built her character and has become extremely confident and sure of herself and skills. She's come a far away psychologically from Sonic Rainboom, at least. Upon arrival at the Academy, Dash and her fellow cadets are given a warm welcome from returning fan favorite, Spitfire, Captain of the Wonderbolts. Yes, I know Spitfire's voice is different. I'm saving that for later. During this Full Metal Jacket, insert rudimentary drill sergeant scene here, Dash discovers another flyer who appears to be just as gung-ho as she is, Lightning Dust. Soon, Dash discovers that Lightning Dust is basically her equal in terms of skill, almost in speed, and interestingly also in attitude. At first, the two get along quite well based on these similar attributes and could arguably be called good friends. However, when flight teams are assigned, Dash is concerned as to why Spitfire assigned Lightning Dust to Wing Leader and her to Wing Man. I'm going to say Wing Man, just sounds better. Wing Pony just is really awkward.
I think I should be lead pony, ma'am.
And I think Lightning Dust likes to push herself a little harder than you do. That's why I made her lead pony. Got it?
With Lightning Dust now calling the shots, Dash now starts to see her reckless nature. She's an end justifies the means type of character, even if her means are at the expense of others around her. Despite Dash's similar bold and brash personality, she doesn't feel comfortable with it. And once Lightning Dust's behavior almost kills off her friends, Dash wouldn't have any more of it. Disappointed in what the Academy was looking for, Dash is willing to literally drop her entire life's dream after learning it wasn't what she thought it was based on Spitfire's original interpretation of what makes a leader. However, Dash misinterpreted Spitfire's words.
But you were right. Being the best should never come at the expense of our fellow ponies. It's not just about pushing ourselves. It's about pushing ourselves in the right direction. You've shown that you're capable of doing just that.
As such, Lightning Dust's rogue behavior gets her kicked from the Academy, and Spitfire promotes Dash to Wing Leader, to which she adorably responds in excitement.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh!
It's safe to say this episode had a lot going on in it. First off, let's start with why this episode was so important for Dash. I'm actually surprised an episode dealing with Dash's tryouts with the Wonderbolts came this early, figuratively speaking, from a big picture. I mean, it's only Season 3 of a show that could easily go as far as 6 seasons, in my head. As far as we know, the Wonderbolts are Dash's end-all, be-all, lifelong goal as a character. Plain simply, it's the equivalent of, say, I don't know, the first thing that comes to mind is Ash from Pokemon actually becoming the best trainer in the world, if you catch my point. It's a sort of goal that is more about the journey and not the end destination, I suppose. Of course, Friendship is Magic is not a long-lasting, story-arcing anime or anything of the like. In the end, it is just a day-in-the-life, plot-driven show with an ensemble cast. So achieving this story arc is kind of difficult, not only because you have 6 to 7 main characters if you count Spike, but it's even more difficult when the episodes are only related to each other on a loosely persistent timeline. So what I'm getting at here is, I feel this episode may have come too early, considering its significance for Dash. However, there is still room. This is, after all, an academy. Dash is just wing lead of her unit of cadets. She isn't a Wonderbolt yet. Which in actuality is a brilliant move from a writing standpoint, because it reaches the perfect middle ground. If she were to become a legitimate Wonderbolt, she'd have to sacrifice time from her friends, probably significantly. But as a cadet, she has room to be actively working towards her goal, probably off-screen, at the same time can remain as a primary member of the ensemble cast of the main 6. This way, everyone wins. On another note, what the Wonderbolts meant for Dash reveals how huge it was for Dash to originally drop out at the end of the episode. Dash recognized, at least to her knowledge at the time, that the Wonderbolts did not meet her values. As such, because she held her values so closely, she was willing to give up her entire life's goal because she didn't want to betray herself and be something she wasn't comfortable with. Now, what does that sound like? It couldn't possibly be loyal to yourself. A rather clever interpretation of her element in my opinion, because loyalty is not always an outward perspective. It's stuff like this which I really appreciate from this show. The way the writers are really working the plots to be as shallow-less as possible. And in a kids show, that's always a zinger. This brings us now to Lightning Dust, a rather interesting character. She wasn't interesting so much in her unique persona because, well, let's admit it, she's just a Rainbow Dash brain on steroids. However, she is interesting in that she acted as a perfect example for Dash to compare herself to. I think Dash truly saw a part of her in Dust, and I think she saw that a part of her was too extreme. I know some people were confused as to why all of a sudden Dash cared about how she treated others. The key to this understanding is how actually Dash has treated others in the past, which is almost entirely verbally through boasting. Yeah, she can be a snob, but she doesn't disrespect others in the way Dust does. If Dash was like Dust, then maybe in the Mare Duel episode she would have found ways to create disasters to prove herself a hero. Think about it. Twilight succumbed to this kind of temptation when she wanted to create a friendship problem in Lesson 0. As we saw, Dust is willing to literally step on others to get her way. Dash clearly isn't comfortable with this, and she wants to prove herself within reason. One can argue, but wait, Dash was willing to risk everyone and push Fluttershy out of her comfort zone in Hurricane Fluttershy in order to break the wing power record. This is true, but Dash was considerate of Fluttershy's willingness to participate, and Twilight was there to be a voice of reason for the other characters who were making the tornado, for their safety. If these episodes are based on a loose, persistent timeline, then Wonderbolt Academy here occurs after the events of Hurricane Fluttershy. Therefore, Dash knows better now. In theory, at least. So in my mind, this is a very significant character building episode for Dash. I personally can't ignore that. And now for something completely different. Another side character's return, and yet again, another one of my favorites, Spitfire. But I'm not much of a fan of her new voice. Kelly Metzger? I don't know. Her voice didn't really boom the right amount of authority and intimidation a drill sergeant would have. At least in my mind, she didn't. Someone like Jane Lynch would have been a great for this role, especially after seeing her role in Wreck-It Ralph. God, I love that movie. Oh, this scene, yeah, right here. Before everyone freaks out and pulls the whole, but only Fluttershy should have bounced off that cloud because she's a Pegasus. If Sonic Rainbow is referenced again, Twilight used a spell which allows non-Pegasi to walk on clouds for a few days. I believe Twilight would plan ahead knowing she'd be visiting a Pegasus region and probably use that spell before going up to the balloon in this episode. However, how would Dash have known this ahead of time? She's clearly capable of snagging up to 4 individuals on her back at supersonic speeds and flying them up to altitude again. So why didn't she start with that? Maybe 5 is her cutoff or something. I don't know. At this point I'm just pointing out meaningless nitpicks. I otherwise like this episode a lot. I like the casual cutaways to Pinky and her antics to separate the pacing. Apparently this might be Andrew Libman's OC, which is a fun little nod to the cast, like we had with Wildfire and Sibsy earlier. And goddammit Dash, Pinky needs you to pop the smoke!
Package waiting for your mark. Repeat, care package waiting for your mark.
Onwards to next week. I'm Wheels, thanks for watching, and remember...
You are still dangerous. You can be my wingman anytime.
Bullshit. You can be mine.